Happy Monday to you. Welcome back to WWJD on franchisesportsmedia.com. Hopefully you had a great weekend. Hopefully it's better than how your Monday is starting off. Let me go ahead and just say, it's been one of those days already that when we're looking at things, it's just crazy. And I want to get you caught up in what's been going on all weekend in case you haven't been following the world of sports. And then we'll get right into our top subject. I had to adjust some things around in this show. We're going to go ahead and talk about UNLV's big recruiting weekend, college football, what's going on. We'll give you the latest information regarding that. We talked about Golden Knights, and I have a WTF story. It'll be the WWJD WTF story of the day. You'll get these every single day to end the show. But hey, happy Monday. The first PGA Tour of 2020 was thrilling and accompanied by a busy weekend in the NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball. Here is a WWJD WTF stat of the day. The St. Louis Cardinals have only played in 5 games this season compared to the Reds, who have played in 16. The Cardinals have had COVID-19 outbreak as bad as anybody, if not worse, in Major League Baseball, and continue to have games postponed to the point where baseball they're going to have to play 59 games in 66 days to just finish the season. Let's go on to the NBA. Lakers point guard, forward, whatever you want to call LeBron James, Bucks Giannis Antetokounmpo, and the Rockets James Harden were named the 2020 NBA finalists. So I expect that to come down to LeBron James and Giannis, to be honest. Ben Simmons is out for the rest of the season after he'll undergo surgery to remove a bone in his left knee. Remember, he had a subluxation in his left knee. We talked about that briefly on Friday. He's done. There's no MACtion this year. The MAC conference is the first FBS school to cancel their season, and well, we'll talk more about whether or not the Power 5 schools are going to with the latest information in just a few minutes. In the NFL, former Washington football franchise team running back Darius Geis, formerly of also LSU, was released by the team following an arrest on charges of domestic violence. He's only 23 years old. He was a starter all last year. This is just one other setback in what would be and was supposed to be a very promising career. The PGA Championship winner, Colin Morikawa, is 23 years old, went to UC Berkeley, won the Tour Championship, shooting 13 under. Tiger had his best day of the weekend on Sunday, shooting 68, but it wasn't enough to get him near the top of the crowded leaderboard as he finished 1 under, tied for 37. Some big-time news this weekend. Great game yesterday. Or it was actually on Saturday, I believe. Saturday. It was the Nuggets and Jazz. They played a game winning in double overtime. Donovan Mitchell hit just some crazy shots. Then going into at the end of the first OT, Nikola Jokic did a game-winning shot with the clock in the start. There's 3.9 seconds left. They said there was 0.3 seconds left. That's so much time they put back on the clock. Crazy. And the Lakers continued to, and their losing streak. They lost 3 straight over the weekend. They've lost some games in some just head-scratching ways. It just makes you say, if you're a Laker fan, what the hell is going on? On the flip side, Golden Knights secured the top seed in the NHL round robin by beating the Colorado Avalanche on Saturday in OT. They now will face the Chicago Blackhawks when they start to drop the puck on Tuesday. That's the NHL. Did you see the benches clearing brawl between the A's and the Astros? Crazy. It came down to Ramon Laureano getting beamed 3 times, and on the third time in the series, twice yesterday, was walking to first base, telling the pitcher, you got to snap your finger if you're going to throw the slider, snap your wrist. The hitting coach for the Astros came out, was talking trash to him, and then came up on the first step, acting like he wanted to throw down. Laureano charged at him from first base, got brought down, and then the guy who incited it, the Astros hitting instructor, kind of just set back while guys were getting at it. It was a really good brawl, if you like brawls. And on this day in 1984, the United States men's basketball team defeated Spain 96-65 to win the gold medal at the 1984 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles at the LA Sports Arena. That team included Patrick Ewing, Chris Mullin, and the GOAT, His Airness, Michael Jordan. So that's what happened on this date, and that's getting you caught up in the world of sports from over the weekend. Now, like I said, my initial thought was to start the show with UNLV recruiting talk, but I'm gonna change it around a little bit because college football is not going to happen in the fall, and probably not this season at all. Last night and throughout the day yesterday, I was exchanging texts and talking with various college coaches that I know and have relationships with. And it all started off a text I got from one of them that said, yeah, we're not going to be playing ball this year. When I said, yeah, I know your conference canceled it. And he goes, no, I'm talking about overall. And then some calls were made, and we all started I started having a conversation, and text exchanges were going back and forth, and tweeted it out there. Pat Forty's done a great job, as usual, putting it out there. And Pat went on Dan Patrick Monday morning. After yesterday, he said that the Big Ten was going to cancel their season. And then I got word the Pac-10 was going to. 24/7 has a fantastic write-up. Go to 247 Sports main website, 247sports.com, to read the articles and the amount of long-form and short-form articles they have going on what's happening. It's as current as you're going to get. But I got word that the Pac-12 was canceling their seasons, as well as, then the Big Ten as well. Well, this morning, the Big Ten held a meeting and voted, out of the 14 presidents, voted 12-2 to cancel the season, with Nebraska and Iowa wanting to be the only two schools to continue playing. The Pac-12, I've learned the Pac-12, and I tweeted this out last night, the Pac-12 on Tuesday, it'll be no later than Tuesday, will cancel their season as well. The Big Ten and Pac-12 will be the first two. The one conference that wants to continue playing is the SEC. Go figure. Go figure. That's the one conference where football supersedes life. Now, I find it interesting that the Big Ten decided to cancel their season. I'm going to be honest. My grandma, I'm originally from Wisconsin. Lived there till I was 4. Go back every few years to see my family back there, who I love dearly. But as this is happening, my grandmother flew back there last week to see my uncle and my aunties and my cousins and her sisters and other family friends. Wisconsin, up until last weekend, not this weekend, it just passed, but the following was mask if you want state, optional mask state. Now, I touched on it last week. If, depending on the part of the state or the country that you live in, what state you live in, that's how serious you take the virus. I think Wisconsin's taking it more serious now that the country's reached 5 million deaths. And I say this because I'm worried about her going back. That's just flying on a plane. I love my grandma dearly. I've lost my son this year. I would not want to lose my grandmother in the same year. Any family member for that matter, especially my grandmother, who raised me with my grandfather and my mom for the first 13 years of my life. So I cannot see a football season popping off, happening, if you're not allowing people back on campus, and if you don't have the type of precautions and measures in place. Now, Pete Thamel, and Pete, excellent writer for Yahoo, college football writer, said he spoke to a group of 5 athletic director, and this is what they said, quote, when the Big Ten councils were expecting to be on a call within a day, end quote. Everyone is watching the Big Ten. There could be some patience to see who joins them, but that's the domino everybody's watching. It happened. So what happens now? They're canceling the seasons. They're going to hope to get it up by spring. But this goes back to the NCAA with no leadership on the NCAA's part, no planning, nobody taking the horse by, or taking the lead horse or whatever, however that saying goes, and nobody taking that. This is bound to happen. This just isn't put your head in the sand and hope to God that this stuff goes away. No, don't work that way. Now, imagine if that was the approach that the NFL took, or baseball, or the NHL, or the NBA. There would be no games at all in any sport. Now, for me, I have a different take, only because I'm trying to look at this thing with a wide view and a bigger perspective. And I love college football. I am a college football junkie. College football, honestly, is my favorite sport to watch. More so than the NFL, more so than baseball, more so than NBA, college basketball, high school sport. I love college football. I think most of the people that know me know that. A lot of my friends feel the same way. But I'm going to be honest. If postponing this season meant that we would be okay in having more and better college football going forward, starting next fall, I'm okay with that. I know it sounds sacrilegious being a college football junkie, but I'm okay with that. I'm going to tell you why. It's not worth young men's lives. It's not worth staff members and coaching staffs and administrators' lives. It's just not. I'm not going to apologize for that. It's just not. There's good that's come out of this. There's great things that's come out of this. I'm going to tell you why in a second, but what about the people the first or second round picks now. The Trevor Lawrences, Justin Fields, Jamar Chase. What about those guys? What about them? They're going to go pro. They're going to leave. There's no reason for them to stay. There's no reason for them to stay. Because the injury risk isn't worth the reward at the end of the day. That's why they're in college. That's why Justin Fields transferred to a place we can this year go pro. He's only going to have 1 year of being a starting quarterback, and he's going to be a top 2 pick, top 5 pick at worst in the upcoming draft. Think about that. That's the same thing as Mitch Trubisky. This is going to be a really different 2 drafts in the NFL. But they've also done positive. And this is where the positive comes into play. Okay. The players have started to unify. The players have started a We Are United front. Now, this is what they want. They want to establish universal mandated health and safety procedures and protocols to protect college athletes against COVID-19 among all conferences throughout the NCAA, not just Power 5, but also Group of 5 schools, Division 2, Division 1 AA, Division 3 HBCUs. They want to give players the opportunity to opt out and respect their decision. And I think the last part of that is the key. Respect their decision. They're making a decision based on their health. Guarantee eligibility, whether a player chooses to play the season or not. Use their voices to establish open communication and trust between players and officials, ultimately creating a college football players association. And have a representative of players of all Power 5 conferences. Those are things that aren't asking a lot. To respect their decision, whether or not they choose to opt out, if they choose to opt out or not, is big. And to use their voices to establish communication and trust between players and officials, ultimately creating a college football players association. That right there is the biggie. Because that says right there, and not so layman's terms, we don't trust you and we know what we are to you. You don't believe me? Let's talk about the Houston Cougar football player, Cedric Williams. He's a lineman, the D lineman, who had COVID and now is experiencing complications with his heart after battling this in July, COVID in July. He's 6'3", 302 pounds. He transferred in. He went to Kilgore College at JC. He tested positive for COVID in early July and spent 14 days in quarantine. But he didn't make a full recovery. Tweeted this out, quote, "As a result of the virus, I've had complications with my heart, and I really don't know the outcome of what's in store for me in the future," he said on Facebook. That's what he said in part. He continued, "I just know that life is more precious than football to me than football ever will be." He opted out of the season, but vows to return once he's 100% recovered, if that happens. He said, quote, "I won't take this year for granted. I'm coming back bigger, faster, and stronger than ever," end quote. He said, the recent death of former Florida State basketball player Michael Oho made him realize heart issues are no joke. If you don't know Ojo, he passed away last week after suffering a heart attack during a training session. He was just 27 years old. Now, Williams himself was a standout at Kilgore. He played 2 seasons there, expected to compete for a starting job with Houston. He was a first-team All-JUCO All-American, lodging 7 sacks. He turned down schools like Arkansas State and Florida Atlantic in order to end up going to Houston. Our voices to be heard and respect our decisions, whether or not we opt out. But playing football is more important. Come on, man. I love my Saturdays too. I love them. I tell you, when I was living with my old roommate in Vegas, our apartment on a Saturday before I went to UNLV, we had a game on the TV, a game on my laptop, a game on his iPad, a game on my phone, and another game on his phone. It was college football central. We were streaming and watching every game possible, flipping between the channels. Me, because I love football, I love college football. Him, because he liked to gamble. Nothing wrong with that. But I loved it. By 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock every Saturday morning, we'd get up about 8:30, 8:45, go grab Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit sandwich and some of that bomb-ass lemonade, come back, put on the games. It was phenomenal. That's what we would do. Then I would get ready to go whatever time UNLV played, wherever they played, and then coming back and getting into that Pac-12 after dark, the Maction during the week on Thursday nights. I love it. It's phenomenal. Yeah, it's not happening. And I don't blame them. And I'm glad, because we need college football back in its entirety, not just for the sake of $1, because we need to have something up. On top of that, we need it back when it comes back with healthy and safe players, staff, and coaches. That's what we need. But when it comes back, will it be the same? I teased this in my tweet yesterday. Would it be the same? Will it be the same? I got a revolutionary idea that I would want to see implemented. I think it'd be a phenomenal idea. I worked on it with my boy TP last week. I really been thinking about it for a while, but when I spoke to him on Friday, I really started to dig in and came up with this. And I say this, in order for this to happen, there are certain things that need to happen in order for this to take place. You would have to come up with some type of union or players association for the college football players. They would have to be compensated with every school having an equal cap. An equal cap. And I'm not talking about in the millions. I'm talking about realistic money. And it could work it into their new marketing deals. There's far smarter people than me to deal with that. And they would have to be unified, because the NCAA, their business model is outdated and antiquated. And that's the reason why college football, in part, is not happening this season. I am proposing that all the Power 5 conferences for football only break off the NCAA and start their own league. Now, there would be 6 conferences, 16 teams in total. So 80 teams total, 16 per conference. And you break them up into regions. You have the East. I'm going to read you the teams. This is the East region. Boston College, Maryland, Navy, Rutgers, Syracuse, Temple, Virginia, Virginia Tech, Clemson, Duke, North Carolina, Wake Forest, NC State, Kentucky, Louisville, and South Carolina. In the South, Florida, Florida State, Miami, South Florida, Central Florida, Georgia, Georgia Tech, Tulane, Alabama, Auburn, Mississippi, Ole Miss, LSU, Memphis, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt, excuse me. In the Midwest, Cincinnati, Ohio State, Michigan, Michigan State, Indiana, Penn State, Pitt, West Virginia, Illinois, Iowa, Iowa State, Minnesota, Northwestern, Notre Dame, Purdue, and Wisconsin. In the Mountain region, Colorado, Colorado State, Kansas, Kansas State, Missouri, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Arkansas, Baylor, Texas, Texas A&M, TCU, SMU, Houston, and Texas Tech. And lastly, in the West, BYU, Utah, Cal, Stanford, Oregon, Oregon State, Washington, Washington State, Arizona, Arizona State, USC, UCLA, and here's the four that come in: Boise State, San Diego State, Fresno State, and UNLV. You play 2 out-of-conference games per year. So you keep the USC Notre Dame rivalry. Because most of the rivalries are already regional. You have those already in your conference play. So the Notre Dame, USC, those are the games that mean just a little bit more. Those are the ones that you keep. But you play a total of 10 conference games, a conference championship, and a football playoff of 8 teams. Your top 4 teams get a bye. Your number 5 seed plays your number 8 seed, and so forth. Are you going to tell me those games wouldn't matter? Every single one of those games you would play, no matter if it starts in the end of August or the beginning of September and runs through the end of November, December, or going into January just about. Every single one of those conference games would play. Imagine your first week out the gate. You have Georgia Tech and Alabama. The reason why Georgia Tech left the SEC, where they were a founding member, was because of Alabama. Now, my friend Tim Peters told me this, and I trust him. Georgia Tech's Bobby Dodd left because at the time the SEC wanted to increase the amount of scholarships, and he felt it would be bad for college football because there's too much of an emphasis on the football and not enough being put into the classroom. So they bounced out of the SEC. Independent, ended up going to Georgia, ended up going to the ACC, and there's that. That would be a phenomenal game. Right now, it'd be kind of someone get their teeth getting kicked in, but down the road, it's a rivalry, though. Or how cool would it be that if you're a UNLV fan, UNLV will play USC and UCLA, and they'll travel down to LA, and they'll have one of them come up and play at Allegiant Stadium every year. Or Marcus Arroyo coaches against Oregon and kids that he recruited up there, and his buddies and people on the staff at Oregon that he's friends with, or he just wants to beat whoever. I don't know, whoever. Those are games that would mean more. Notre Dame can still play Navy. USC and Navy, there's their two big games. And whoa, they should be playing Army. Look, Notre Dame has gotten away with a lot, and this is an interesting test case for them because them being the ACC is going to show that things aren't what they always used to be, and that's okay. But this model right here works. There's rivalries. There's great games. You're not playing Valdosta, Northwest Louisiana State University without Bobby Boucher. You're not playing Blue Mountain College. You're not playing those guys. You're playing real dudes, and every game matters. That's what you want as a fan, right? You want the games, you want the experience to have every game matter. Think about that. Tell me why that wouldn't work. And imagine the type of money they'll make. Now we're going to get into the business side of things. Imagine the money that they would make. You're going to tell me ESPN, CBS, NBC, Fox wouldn't pony up big bucks to have those types of games? It's must-see TV every single week. Every single week. You can have your Friday night game, your Thursday night game, your Saturday games. You're not going to compete with the NFL on Sunday or Monday. Thursday, you may be able to get some because depending on the Thursday night game, the NFL puts out some really bad Thursday night games. But other than that, man, that would be the ultimate when it comes to college football. A conference where you literally have let's say it's rivalry weekend, right? You got Kansas State. And I get and the day after, no, I'll even take it a step further. The day after Thanksgiving, you got the Red River Shootout, Oklahoma and Texas, Colorado and Nebraska. I miss that rivalry. I'll call Mike Pritchard. I'll get Mike Pritchard on the show, and we'll have a conversation about it. I miss the Red River rivalry. Oh, no, Colorado, Nebraska, excuse me. I miss that. That was one of the better games. I miss Colorado being in the Big 12 or the Big 8. Those were great games. And you bring back the old Southwest Conference with all the Texas schools and Arkansas, Oklahoma State, Colorado, Nebraska. Oh, my Lord. That's great. And then the Midwest. That's a great conference. Your worst team is Cincinnati. And they've had moments where they've been pretty good. And why isn't Notre Dame in the East? Well, Notre Dame has natural rivalries with Purdue, Indiana, Michigan, and Michigan State. Penn State and Pitt were the two in the East that I struggled with because I could have put them very easily in the East and put Kentucky and Louisville in the Midwest. So you can kind of make some adjustments. The West was easy. I thought at one point Utah State would be a team I put in there. But Fresno State's football and what they've done is just over the last, since Pat Hill was there, is just too much for me to even say nah. And then I think that's more of a rivalry for like a UNLV. I think for even Boise and Fresno State, there's a rivalry there. UNLV, San Diego State, obviously there's a rivalry. And then UNLV can still play Reno. They still can play for the Canyon. That could be one of their out-of-conference games. But then you have UNLV and BYU. BYU has Utah. They each could play Utah State. So Utah State's still going to get at least 2 big-time games. It just makes a lot of sense. That South region would be a dog, though. Whew. Florida State, Miami. Whew. Have those 3 schools play against each other every single year. That hasn't happened in a long time. Georgia Tech. The worst school in there is Tulane. Memphis, Vanderbilt. Vandy always has sneaky good teams. They always have that year where they have a good team, but they've earned it. I want to thank Tim Peters, my guy, for helping me with that. But UNLV in a West, and that's where you have, think about it. Where would the championship game be played? Well, you have Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. You have SoFi. Levi Stadium is not an option. You could have other stadiums. There's stadiums obviously down south. You can move it around, just like, you can move it around just like you do with the Super Bowl. And you're still playing more than the 13 games. You're playing what could be 15. You're almost playing a full season. I just think it works. Let me know what you think. Tweet at me at Joe Arrigo, ARRIGO, or at the franchise. This is the franchise LV. Love to hear what you have to say about my idea about Power 5 schools leaving the NCAA, creating their own football league, and increasing the conferences to 16 teams in total. So there's a total overall of 80 teams. Tell me what you think. I'm going to tell you what I think about UNLV football right now. Over the last week, Marcus Royal landed 6 recruits in the last week and change. Three of the guys that committed this week were top 5 guys in this class. There's 3 of the top 5 guys in this class, including the second highest rated defensive player in school history. Let's go back to Friday when I said there was going to be a big weekend and a big recruit in the last WWJD. Jalen Lane, the safety from Shadow Creek High School in Pearland, Texas, committed on Friday afternoon. Less than 24 hours later, Nick Demetrius, a defensive end from Sierra Vista High School in Baldwin Park, California, committed on Saturday. He's the teammate of Anthony Rosas, who is the highest rated offensive lineman ever to commit to UNLV. Nick right now currently is the highest rated player overall in the class. And then on Sunday, and nobody knew this was happening, okay? Nobody knew this was happening. I tweeted out about it. I alluded to it on Friday. I tweeted out about it Saturday, and the bombs were just ticking away. And then at noon on Sunday, boom, the bomb went off. Bry Ligon, I know I mispronounced his last name, but Bry is an athlete from Linfield Christian High School in Temecula, California. He committed to UNLV on Sunday. UNLV now has the number 1 recruiting class in the Mountain West and the 56th best class nationally. Currently, the average star for the Rebels is 83.8330.8330. All 3 stars out of the 16 commits, except for 1. They got 15 3-stars and 1 high 2-star. Now, 24/7 Sports is according to 247 Sports. They do a thing where they have some weird math and algorithms that make things work. Right now, total points, UNLV's 152.82. I tell you that because with these rankings, UNLV is ahead of SMU, Washington State, Indiana, Kansas State, Illinois, South Florida, Maryland, Michigan State, Colorado, UCF, Vanderbilt, Fresno, San Diego State, Ole Miss, Nevada, Purdue, Utah, Stanford, Oregon State, TCU, and the list goes on and on. Now, how far are they to crack in the top 50? They're about 8 points behind Duke, 9 behind pretty much everybody in the top 50, and 10 behind UCLA. That could easily be another big-time recruit that Coach Arroyo brings in. And let's talk about Coach Arroyo. Marcus Arroyo is absolutely crushing it on the recruiting trail. He's doing this with no official visits. This is his first time being able to recruit a full season. Remember, he had like 28 days to recruit for last year's class. For this year's class, he's got a whole year. But he's not able to utilize the Fertitta Football Complex or Allegiant Stadium to full capacity. He can't. No one can come on campus. They're isolated from the athletic department. Coach Arroyo is absolutely killing it. He's out recruiting Power 5 schools. He's out recruiting a guy known for his recruiting in Lane Kiffin, who's getting paid like, I believe, close to $5 million a year now at Ole Miss. Is it going to continue that way? I don't know. But right now, he's kicking ass. And I love the no flinch attitude. We, not me. Rebel Vision 21. I love it. Because the way he's going about doing it with the players that he's recruited, it's genuine. They feel the love. But he's got 9 Schollies left. UNLV's best class, recruiting class. I was talking with Mark Wallington at UNLV about this. We were texting each other yesterday. And I asked him. I said, Mark, you're all things gatekeeper to all things UNLV. What's the best class in school history? And it took a while, but he found it. Their highest rated class was in 2003. It was number 53 overall, and that was by Rivals. Conversely, Scout.com, which is now 24/7, did rate G5s back then. I didn't think they did at first, but under 24/7 they didn't, but under Scout they did. And they were 66 nationally then. But that's still the highest rated since the school, or since really Scout Rivals or anybody else has been keeping up with ratings. So already this looks like it's going to be the highest rated recruiting class in school history. He's got to move 3 spots. You can move 3 spots. And you're going to move 3 spots with 9 if he keeps up and continues to recruit the way he is right now. But I'm going to tell you something that I don't think anybody else is thought of or thinking about when it comes to UNLV football and Coach Arroyo. COVID-19 has helped and will be a help to Coach Arroyo and UNLV. It's already helped. See, he's able to implement things that haven't been able to happen in the past. He can take his time a little bit, especially the way everything's going with the seasons being canceled. No matter what happens this year, if they were to play in the spring, whatever would have happened would have been a wash because of COVID. So it would have been already like, well, it doesn't matter, COVID. So, I mean, they could finish 3-7, 4-6, 5-5, whatever. And it would have been, yeah, but COVID. Now, if he would have went 6-4, 7-3, 8-2, a different story. What a great job of coaching if that would have happened. And it still might. Still might. But he gets a full year. Then he gets his team in there, right? The guys like Brendan Scott, LaShawn Bell, Briggs, Jeremiah Houston, Doug Brumfeld. The guys that he had come in last year. And they get a full year building their bodies, learning the playbook. That right there is well worth it for Coach Arroyo. That's that in itself. That could work. So COVID has helped. And that's me being positive. COVID will be a help to UNLV. If the season is canceled, it would be a help. Now, that leaves questions for guys like Charles Williams, Farrell Hester, Randall Grimes, Tylee Collins, Vic Viramontes. That leaves some questions with those guys. I think they all return. But they still may look to test the waters. I find it interesting, though. Oh, now I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it. Did you see the tweet of the all-white UNLV helmet? Now, I've heard rumors and rumblings that there's been some uniform tweaks and changes. I don't know what they are. But man, that white helmet. Could there be a stormtrooper look on the horizon? Oh, big boy. Man. I've been calling for that. All white. White on white is one of the cleanest looks if it's done correctly in any sport. If it's done right, you could foobar it. But UNLV on white. Ooh, wee. Yes. Yes. As these young girls like to say nowadays. Yes, B. Yeah. Don't ask me why I just did that. Came to my head. Anyway. Man, we are almost an hour in, and all we've talked about is college football. I could do that every day. That's how much I love college football. But there's other news that's been happening. But I have one last thought about college football. Going back to the original point about players. The We Want to Play movement, it's a hashtag movement going on Twitter from players that play college football saying they want to play. I get it for the players that are superstars in college football, that are the names and faces of college football this year. But what about the guy at Eastern Carolina that's there as a walk-on, but he earned his scholarship as his senior year, and his family can't afford to pay the tuition? What about those guys that aren't the faces of college football? Those are the ones I personally worry about. The reason being, they quite honestly are the ones that could get hurt because they may not have a career after college football. Those are the ones you have to worry about. Not the guys they're going to be your first or second round picks. I'm talking about guys that go late in the draft or undrafted. Those are the guys you worry about. You don't really worry about the guys that are going to be taken because at the end of the day, they're going to make their money somehow, some way. Just like the colleges are going to make their money one way or another. I'm interested to see exactly what comes out of this. Very interested. Shifting topics. The Golden Knights. Hell of a job by the Golden Knights. Number 1 seed. They literally, every game they played was a almost like a nail biter, to be honest. I mean, it was OT, come from behind in the third period. It was crazy. They played the Avalanche on Saturday, and they in thrilling fashion. Alex Tuck netted a game-winning goal in overtime, giving the Golden Knights a 4-3 victory and the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. Jonathan Marchessault scored a beautiful tip-in on a penalty shot, and a penalty shot, shall I say. Nicholas Roy punched one in as well. Rockin' Robin was solid in goal, stopping 32 of 35 shots that Colorado put on net. This was the first game, though, that the Golden Knights never trailed in any of the round-robin games. They actually played a controlled game. They had to make Peter DeBoer happy. They did have a little too much penalties, 6 of them. You can't have that against the league competition. But nonetheless, you're the number 1 seed in the West. But you got to play a matchup against a very tough and gritty and a team with a solid pedigree of winning a Stanley Cup champion in the Chicago Blackhawks. With Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews, Duncan Keith, Corey Crawford, who's been playing lights out. But Mad Max is coming back, though. He was in the bubble. I guess he's been cleared. He's been practicing. He's been there for over a week. So that's good. That old Maxi P's coming back. But the big question is going to be who's going to start in goal for the Golden Knights. Is it going to be Lafleur? Is it going to be Marc-Andre Fleury or Robin Lehner? It's the question. DeBoer has to answer it. Now, if you're going off sentimental value and because he's been the goalie since the inception of the team, yeah, it's Andre Fleury. It's the flower. And I tend to agree with our VGK writer, Chris Gallek, who actually today has the NHL playoff preview up on Franchise Sports Media. It's a must read. Get you all locked in to everything VGK and everything NHL playoffs. I may go with Lehner for sure. It's not that I'm down on the flower. The guy is arguably the most athletic goaltender in the NHL. He makes saves that you're like, holy, did he just save that? But there's some easy ones that he lets get by. They just get by him, and it's unexplainable. Those are the ones that are mind-boggling to me. So I'm going to run down real quick the playoffs. Starting in the Western Conference, you have the number 1 Golden Knights versus number 12 seed Blackhawks. The number 2 seed Avalanche versus number 11 seed Arizona Coyotes. Number 3 seed Dallas Stars take on the Calgary Flames, who are the number 9 seed. The number 4 and 7 seeds are the St. Louis Blues and Vancouver Canucks. Flipping to the East, the number 12 Montreal Canadiens will take on the number 1 seed Philadelphia Flyers. The Tampa Bay Lightning is the number 2 seed. They'll take on the number 9 Carolina Blue Jackets. The number 4 seed Boston Bruins will take on the number 6 seed Carolina Hurricanes. The number 3 seed Washington Capitals will take on the number 7 seed New York Islanders. And the number 4 seed Boston Bruins will take on the number 6 seed Carolina Hurricanes. I like Chris's Chris chose, he made his prediction on the Stanley Cup finals and who would win. We'll talk about that. Well, you don't talk about it now. He has Vegas over Boston. Now, but Boston's a scary pick because they were 0-3 in the round robin games. Now, the Hurricanes, they'll be well rested when they drop the puck for this series. The last time they played was August 4th. I'm interested with the Boston pick. The series that intrigues me the most, though, is the Capitals and Islanders. Because Barry Trotz left the Capitals after winning the Stanley Cup. Like as soon as the season was over, he's like, "I'm out. I'm going over to Staten Island." And he took the Islanders gig. Now, in part, that's the Capitals' fault for not locking him in, but he still dipped to go over there. That's going to be one where there's going to be some bad blood. He wants that one bad. I could see that. He wants that one bad. Yeah, that. I'm looking forward to the NHL playoffs. I'm gonna give the NHL credit, man. I'm gonna be real. Like I didn't think that any sports would get played this year. I'm still very pessimistic when it comes to the NFL. Very pessimistic. Obviously, we see what's happening with college football. I don't see how you could have high school sports in the fall at all. If the colleges are shutting it down, why in the hell would you allow high schools to play? That makes absolutely no sense. Baseball seems to be bungling it up. The bubble works for the NBA and in the NHL. Give them credit for that. Give them both credit. Give Silver and Bettman credit for working with their players association and getting things done. And people bitching and complaining about them wanting sports back, and they want, oh, sports needs to come back. We need to have college football. I need my Saturdays in my RV, tailgating, barbecuing, face painting my body, screaming at 18 to 22-year-olds to do something I couldn't do. Because I wasn't athletic enough or just didn't play, damn it. Are probably some of the same people who are saying that are probably some of the same people who are bitching and complaining about wearing a face mask or putting a mask on. Let me tell you what. Have that same energy about wearing a mask for a few months so we can get rid of this damn virus and have a regular life. Because if you would have done that 5 months ago, we'd probably be having football right now. We'd be getting ready for college football. Baseball would probably be going off without a hitch. The NBA would be doing their thing. We would probably have somewhat normal lifestyles back again. But no. Keep that same energy. Tell me what you think. At Joe Arrigo, at JOEARRIGO, and at the franchise LV. The Lakers, man, they lost by 6 in Indianapolis in their last game on Saturday. It was one of those games. They came back. They looked a little bit better, but the only thing only positive thing I could say about them is it doesn't look like they're running any set plays. That they're just kind of going through the motion, just running one play. They're not doing anything over the top. But you got to be worried if you're a Laker fan for a quick exit. Number 1 seed. Don't let Portland get in there. I've been saying that for a couple of weeks now. Don't let Portland and Dame Lillard, Dame Dolly get in there. That's going to be a problem. Big time problem. They got to start knocking down shots. They got to stop going through the motions. Ratchet it up now. They played Denver today on TNT and on Spectrum Sports. Isaiah Torres for Franchise Sports Media has the preview up on the site. So go check that out. I'm so fired up about college football. I wish it was still going on, damn it. I know I'm going to get calls from Farrell Hester and a few other people. Probably some people that watch the show or listen to the show. Be like, Joe, man, you're talking way too much college football. Or, man, you hit some good points. Or, man, that sucks. Yeah. We've had 5 months to get our crap together. Put on a mask, social distance, stay home. Couldn't even do that. Couldn't even do that. That's why we don't have college football. Because everybody wants to be the smart guy in the room. Said, listen to the germologist or whatever they're called. They're telling you what to do. And like, nah, son. Nah, son. I know what I'm doing. I'm not going to wear a mask into Walmart. I'm going to be on a plane, take it off, and eat, and keep it off because I don't feel like wearing the mask. Dumb. It's hindering us. And it's funny because I was telling this to a friend. I've been saying this for a while. And I told to my friend over the weekend. I said, back in the 80s, people could smoke on airplanes. You guys remember that? Literally light up stogies, pipes, and cigs on airplanes. And what ends up happening is they say you can't smoke on planes. People get pissed. Then as the 80s go on, I'm going to say in the late 80s, it was you have to wear a seatbelt when you drive. It's a law. People get pissed, but it saves lives. Both save lives for the most part. Then it was you can't wear helmets when you drive a motorcycle or ride a motorcycle. You have to wear helmets. People get pissed about that. You can't tell me I need to wear a helmet. Where they're rolling their hog and going 115 and all of a sudden hit an oil skid, wipe out and die because they're not wearing a helmet. So from smoking on planes, putting on a seatbelt, wearing a helmet when you ride a motorcycle, it's always bucking the trend. But what the hell? It's for the betterment of people. Same thing with this. They're telling you what you need to do. No one will listen. It's not political. Stop trying to politicize everything. This is real life. And if y'all want to have any semblance of real life back and get back some type of normalcy and get back some type of sport, athletic activity, you're going to need to do some things you don't want to do. That's part of the problem. People feel like their opinion or what they want matters more than other people. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you don't know what the hell you're doing, man. Like that's the part that's crazy to me. I want college football back. I want sports back. I want high school football back. I want high school athletics back. I want athletics in general back. I want a regular freaking fall where I'm not trying to find another documentary to watch all day while I work or on a weekend because like everything's shut down. Damn. And think about those high school juniors and seniors, man. Those guys who have their tape and were relying on a big senior year or hoping that their big junior year would who would help them get a scholarship or get some offer. Those guys are screwed too. Think about that, man. That's crazy. Put on your damn mask and social distance. Before I get into the WWJD WTF story of the day, and it's oh boy, it's a hard story to talk about, I tell you. It's where the rubber meets the road. Yeah. But speaking of documentaries, I watched a good one this weekend on Amazon Prime. We got it all over here. Amazon Prime, Netflix, Hulu. It's called The Last Narc. The Last Narc. It's Jaleesa found it, and she's like, we need to watch this. And I was like, all right, cool. What it's about, it's crazy because it goes back to 1985. In 1985, a DEA agent named Enrique Quique Camarena was kidnapped, tortured, and murdered by Mexican drug lords. There was two or three of them that did it. Now, a special agent that took the case over because he didn't. Well, they couldn't figure out what happened. His name was Hector Valores. He reveals the truth behind the conspiracy behind Camarena's murder that stretches from Mexico to Washington, D.C. Like it literally grips you in the first 5 or 10 minutes. Now, they talk to former cartel insiders, and they give bone-chilling details behind Camarena's murder and kidnapping. There's a lot of twists and turns, as you can imagine. Corruption, crime, conspiracy. It is really, really good. To a point to where I'm going to go back and watch it again. It's called The Last Narc. It came out on Amazon Prime. It's an Amazon original. And it is a phenomenal piece of work. Again, Jaleesa got pretty pissed at me. Well, I don't say got pissed at me, but she got a little upset with me about it. She got a little upset with me when all this happened. When we were, because I finished it and she didn't. It's really good. I can't speak highly about it enough. I mean, it's just dope. She got pissed because she was at work, and on Friday I finished it. We started Thursday night. Wednesday night, and Friday as I was working, I watched the rest of it. Really, really good. I'm telling you that it's there's some graphic stuff in there too. Don't get me wrong. So let's flip to the lighter side of everything. It's the WWJD WTF story of the day. All these acronyms, man. So this happened here in Las Vegas. Happened in July. So let me tell you what happened now. A mass thief, he's still at large. After he just, strolled into a Las Vegas sex store, broad daylight, and casually walked out with a 3-foot, 40-pound dildo hoisted onto his shoulder. This big, massive, big boy on his shoulder just kind of walks out with it. Now, Laura, who didn't want to give her last name, works there. She told the Huffington Post that, quote, he just picked it up and walked out with it, end quote. If you go to TMZ, they have obtained the surveillance footage of the theft that happened on July 14th at Deja Vu Love Boutique here in Las Vegas. And the report says that the man stuffed the stolen phallus into his car and made a clean getaway. Now, Laura went on to say that the stolen good is actually a sex toy named Moby, and that it retails for $1,250. I've seen this thing on the TMZ video. Make that clear. It's on the TMZ video. When I seen the story, I looked at the video. And if you're a woman that could take this thing, one, I feel sorry for you. But two, I feel sorry for your partner. This thing, it was massive. 3 feet and 40 pounds. Dude literally walked in, and think about the video. I'm going to tell you the interesting part about the video. The guy walks in. They have it in between like a stand and some type of casing, right? He knew exactly where to go, kind of looks around a little bit, just picks it up, puts it over his shoulder, just casually walks out. Nobody chases after him. Nobody's like even paying him any mind. But the thing about the video, if you go watch it, I would just put in man steals 43-foot, 40-pound dildo in your Google Drive, Google search, and it'll pop up. But it looks as if you, right before he takes it, and you look not at him, but go to the right, and look at the screen, it looks like there's a little kid in the store walking around with their parents. When I mean little, I mean like between the ages of 3 and 6. Now, I don't know if that to be the actual case. But man, if this dude gets caught, I guarantee he'll be subject to the penal code. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm a dick for that joke. Oh, wait. Let me stop. It's so bad. So bad. Lame jokes. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry. Man. Um Before I get out of here, before I get out of here, there's something I want to talk. I want to talk about. And it happened again on Saturday or yesterday morning. As you know, on July 30th, or excuse me, June 30th, my 19-year-old son Joe, little Joe, Joey, JoJo, took his own life, and it's been something that I've on a daily struggle with because you're 19, you're my kid. There's no way any 19-year-old, my child or not, should take his own life, their own life, her own life. They there's a lot of things that happen. There's a lot of things that happen that we don't understand these kids go through on a daily basis. Things that I'm just starting to understand through research and just trying to figure it out on my own. Well, I was speaking with a good friend of mine yesterday evening, based on some tweets that he put out. He's a coach at Centennial High School named DJ Campbell. Coaches safeties for Centennial, played at Cal, went to Cheyenne. And DJ told me a kid that I had the privilege of coaching for a couple years at Centennial, who just graduated from Centennial, who was a friend and teammate of my son Peanut, Dominic. That yesterday they found him they found him deceased, and that it looked like it was self-inflicted. I believe, and I may be wrong, but I believe they found him in the Palo Verde parking lot. I can't stress this enough. We as parents have to be better. We as parents have to do a better job for and with our children. We don't know. We don't know what these kids go through. How much pressure that they feel from us. How much they feel like we don't love them or love them enough, or we love them too much, or put too much responsibility on them. What kids at school say about them, tease them, pick on them. We don't know what they go through on a daily basis. It is unnatural for a parent to bury their child. I know I'm living it. My heart breaks for Tony's parents. Tony was the type of kid that worked his tail off in the weight room, at practice, didn't get a lot of tick, but when he got in, he did a damn good job of the things that he did. Would come off after the game, say, "Thank you, coach. Really appreciate you giving me the opportunity." Would come up to you as a coach. DJ and I were talking about it yesterday. Thank you and ask you for what can I do to get better. It was at every receiver workout when Coach Bradley was there as the receiver coach on Saturday mornings. Work hard before and after practice. But you never know what the kid feels. You never know. You never know what's going through their mind and their heart, what pain they're feeling. And some of you, as adults, we feel it too. We go through depression. And be honest, when I found out that my ex was cheating on me after almost 20 years being together, it set me on a tailspin in life. It literally set me on a tailspin. I never had thought about harming myself. I did think about it at that time. I had no self-esteem. I was going through depression. I wasn't myself for a good 6-7 months. But early on, I utilized a resource. I found a counselor. And that helped big time because I was able to talk to somebody that was able to help me get through it and know that everything is going to be okay. I was 39, 40 and felt that way. Imagine what a 19-year-old who has no idea about their feelings must feel like. I mean, everybody, when they lose their first love, it's the end of the world to them. Some people can't deal with it, and it is the end of the world to them. They don't realize that suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. So I'm asking you, man to man, parent to parent, human to human, for two things. One, if you're not already, be a better parent to your kid. Listen, watch for warning signs. Be present, not just be there, but be present and attentive. Be supportive. Love them hard. Love your kids hard. And the other thing is, if you or somebody you know or love feels as if they're going to hurt themselves, please call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. It's open 24 hours and they speak English and Spanish. They have over 160 crisis centers that provide services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's toll free. They're there for anybody in a suicidal crisis or in emotional distress. The number to call is 800-273-8255. 800-273-8255. Again, 800-273-8255. 1-800-273-8255. 8255. Please, let's save some lives. With that being said, thank you for joining me today in a big college football edition of WWJD. Talked about some other good stuff too. We'll see what happens tomorrow in sports. Probably going to be more college football. May have a guest. And probably have some Laker talk as well. That's it for me, Joe Arrigo. Please follow me on Twitter if you already don't, at Joe ARRIGO. Follow the franchise on all social media at the franchise LV. And hey, today's a great day to arrest the killers of Breonna Taylor. Love y'all. Have a great one.